Good morning, and thanks for staying with us. We're at the Kansas Wheat Innovation Center over in Manhattan. We're joined by Justin Gilpin. It's always good to see you.
Good to see you, Brian.
When I saw Justin, I was like, dude, eat a pizza. You look fantastic.
Hey, I have been eating plenty of pizza. I have been kind of trying to maintain what I'm doing. It's part of what we try to preach over here as far as being, when people go on to diets, so often you hear people trying to go on a gluten-free or excluding certain things out of a diet. What we try to talk about is it's important to have a balanced diet, balanced, both with nutrition and exercise. It's a calories thing more than it is.
Moderation.
It is. And so that's kind of what I've tried to do. But thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
I just wanted. He does. Anyways, about 80% of Kansas crop is fair to excellent condition. Gotten a little bit of moisture. Things may be looking okay.
Well, the moisture came at the right time. You're right about that. As this crop began to break dormancy, there was a lot of concern, especially out west, with the crop that hadn't emerged in some areas, and where it had gotten good growth in the fall, it hadn't had any moisture to speak of from a November to March time frame, and so it was within a week or two of making some really hard decisions about whether or not to go to a different crop in a lot of those areas out in western Kansas. But that rain came at the right time. It was the right kind of moisture. It came over an extended period of time, and we also had some cool weather that's helped slow this crop down. But so that has improved the conditions. It has improved the optimism as far as how this crop's going to look. But with that, it's probably the moisture has kind of created some other concerns that farmers need to be looking out for.
And if we want that crop to stay in good condition, we need to be watching. And stripe rust is one of those deals that we've talked about for the last 5 years.
Yes, and as you start to get some more yield prospects and you start to get a little bit of moisture in this cooler weather, certainly some disease is starting to creep into this crop. And K-State Extension's been really good about getting out and monitoring this and getting information out, but it's really important for farmers to get out and to inspect their fields, make that management decision, with stripe rust, it used to be, how much does a bushel of wheat versus, acre of spraying. But what we've seen the last couple of years is stripe rust is a significant enough disease that it absolutely is. It pays to go ahead and get in and spray it, just because of the significant yield loss and quality loss you can see if it is untreated.
Are we talking about spotty patches throughout the state, or is it kind of in one part of the state and holding still?
Well, it's continually being monitored, but it's already showing up probably in about I think around 16 different counties as of this weekend. And it goes anywhere from south central Kansas out to out west, and so it has this where we've had the moisture, and then the crop prospects look kind of good, and we have some varieties that are a little more susceptible to others. Stripe rust is definitely one of those diseases producers need to get out and scout and manage.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to finish up with Justin over at the Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan. We're at kansasAGreport. We'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Thanks for staying with us. We're at the Wheat Innovation Center over in Manhattan. We're joined by Justin Gilpin. And Justin, some really important things coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We've got field days from Kansas State Research and Extension. And it's real important for farmers to get out and participate in those field days.
That's exactly right, Brian. It's a great opportunity with like each county and each different locations throughout the state put together these test plots where it gives farmers an opportunity to get out and see the variety, see how they're performing in this condition. We're in a situation now where genetics are moving faster. The most recent variety planted survey for the state of Kansas showed Everest is still the #1 planted variety, but it was less than 10% of the state of the acres in the state of Kansas. And that's the first time ever in that wheat variety survey that the leading variety in the state was less than 10%. So what that means is, one, Everest is kind of on its way out because it's showing some susceptibility and some some other yield drags versus some of the other varieties, but it also tells you that it's become a lot more competitive, where there's a lot more varieties for farmers to choose from. And so these field days create opportunities where they can actually see these varieties growing, how they're performing against certain disease packages and issues that are, whether it's heat or drought or stress, and see how these varieties are performing. But it's also an opportunity to interact with some of their neighbors and some of the local farmers in the area to see what they're doing as far as management decisions, because we're in a situation right now where prices are pretty low versus compared to what they had been. And so this is a time, it's a commodity cycle, but this is one of those times where we got to make sure that we're doing the best we can to maximize farming for bushels, to make sure we're as profitable as possible in these tough agricultural economic times.
Well, not only that, but about this time of the year, we don't see our neighbors very often because we're tending to the wheat that we've got in the field, and then we're looking at our next crop that we're putting in and taking care of those things. The relationship between the Wheat Innovation Center and Kansas State Research and Extension is vital to Kansas farmers.
That's one of the reasons why the Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers invested in the Kansas Wheat Innovation Center, because of that strong relationship with our land-grant university at Kansas State. We need to have not only a strong genetic and variety development program, but we also need to have that extension aspect of it, because that's the a core mission from the land-grant university is to get out education through extension as far as management practices, but then also other opportunities to learn about production agriculture.
Real quick, we've got about 30 seconds left here. Where do people go to find out information on the field days?
On the field days will be posted on the K-State Department of Agronomy website. We'll also be putting out on the kansaswheat.org website. There will be a list of all the field days. But locally, if you work with your local county extension agent, that'd probably be the best bet to try to make sure that you know where each one of these field days. But then we also have private companies that will be doing Syngenta, Lima Grain, and will be doing, and Westbred will be doing their own private field days as well as Kansas Wheat Alliance that you can go to.
Perfect. We're going to keep Justin around, and you're going to see him again next week because there's so much going on. We didn't have a chance to talk about
it's that time of year.
The wheat tour coming up. So you're watching Kansas Ag Report, and we'll see you in just a minute.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.